Today we're going to talk about the most awesome guitar riff of all time. And just to quiz you, what is that guitar riff?
Day Tripper, obviously.
That's a very insightful answer.
It's really the only answer, isn't it?
I think so. You know, it's funny, we usually sit down and we talk about these soaring melodies or these really complex harmonies.
Vocal arrangement.
Exactly. But this one feels different. This isn't about a sound that floats. It's a sound that, well, it physically grabs you.
It's so visceral. I've always thought of it like a perfectly thrown punch. You know, yeah. It's compact, it's precise, and once it lands, you just can't shake it.
It's that initial attack. That's what gets me. It just bends up out of total silence. No count in, no warning.
Yeah.
Just that sound.
And think about the economy of it. I mean, before the second note even hits, you know exactly what song it is.
You do.
That's the magic trick. The whole identity of the track is right there in a fraction of a second.
But if you strip away the attitude and the sound, what are we really looking at? Structurally, because it sounds so simple.
Well, the genius is in the simplicity. It is simple technically, just 2 bars of music. It's all built on an E major chord.
Right.
But, and this is the key thing, unlike a lot of riffs from that time, this isn't just decoration.
You mean like a little intro that just sort of disappears? A hood ornament?
Precisely. So many songs back then had a little guitar thing to catch your ear, but then the vocals come in and it's just strumming in the background.
Yeah.
Day Tripper just refuses to do that. The riff isn't the ornament, it's the engine. It opens the track, it anchors the verses, and it moves.
Right. It follows the chord changes. It's not just stuck on E.
It's relentless. It goes from E to A to B, and then it brings you right back home to close the song. The whole track is just that one idea.
That's why you can listen to it forever. It's the actual architecture.
It is the architecture, not just a coat of paint.
And to really get why this sound happened when it did, we have to look at the calendar. We're talking December 1965.
Such a critical moment. If you want to understand Day Tripper, you have to understand the pressure cooker that was the end of 65 for them.
They'd just come off that massive North American tour, Shea Stadium, all of it. They must have been completely exhausted.
Oh, shattered is probably an understatement. Physically drained, for sure. And on top of all that, EMI is banging on the door demanding a Christmas single.
They needed product.
They needed product. And back then, a Christmas single usually meant, you know, your best song on the A side and a throwaway on the B side.
Right.
But this is the Beatles. So they refused to do that. They delivered the world's first double A side.
Day Tripper, and we can work it out.
An unbelievable 1-2 punch.
But let's go back to that American tour for a second. Because they weren't just running from mobs, were they? They were listening.
They were soaking it all in. I mean, the summer of 65 in America was all about soul music. They were listening to Motown constantly, the Supremes, the Four Tops, and Stax records, too.
Which is a completely different rhythmic language than the old Mersey beat stuff.
Completely different. Suddenly, bass lines were melodic, they were moving all over the place, guitar parts were sharp and rhythmic. So when they got back to London, their whole idea of what a groove was had changed.
And Day Tripper is the proof.
It's the statement. This is them moving into something much grittier.
Speaking of gritty, let's get into the drama. Because the question of who wrote what with them is never simple, is it?
Never. And with Day Tripper, it's just a perfect example of their personality.
I feel like John was always pretty clear about this one.
Oh, very clear. In that famous 1980 interview, he was just blunt as ever. He said, "That's mine," including the lick, the guitar break, and the whole bit.
Classic Lennon. Zero ambiguity.
But then you have Paul. And Paul's the diplomat, you know, but he also has this incredible memory for the details. He says it was a collaboration.
But he gives John the main credit.
He does. And in McCartney language, giving John main credit usually means John walked in with the core idea, the riff, and then they worked it into a full song together.
Okay, so let's say John writes one of the greatest rock riffs of all time. Here's the irony that always gets me.
I know where you're going with this.
He didn't play it on the record, did he?
Almost certainly not. No. The riff you hear on that record, that grinding perfect figure, that's George Harrison.
So the writer hands his masterpiece over to the lead guitarist.
Well, they wanted the best sound. George was the precision guy, the mechanic. John was a brilliant rhythm player, but he was, you know, a bit messy.
More aggressive?
A thrashing style, yeah. For this riff to work, it had to be surgical, so George played it.
And Paul's on bass, obviously.
Paul is doubling that riff on the bass, and John's probably on rhythm guitar and doing the solo. It's this amazing division of labor, Lennon's idea, but executed by George and Paul to create this one enormous instrument.
Okay, let's dig into that enormous instrument sound, because the gearheads always obsess over this track. It just sounds so different.
It really does, and a lot of that is the guitars. George isn't using his famous Rickenbacker 12-string or the Gretsch he played on Ed Sullivan.
So what did he use to get that darker sound?
He used a Gibson ES-345. It's a semi-hollow body, so it's got a much warmer, woodier tone, probably a 63 Gretsch Tennessean in there too, just a different kind of bite than the jangly Ricks.
But the real secret sauce, it's not the guitar, is it?
No. This is the detail that matters.
It's what Paul was doing.
It's absolutely what Paul was doing. To a casual listener, you just hear a low, heavy sound. But if you're a musician, what he did on the bass is, well, it's fascinating.
Break it down for us. What's so special?
Okay, so the riff is in the key of E. On a bass, your lowest, thickest string is an E string.
Okay.
The easiest, biggest, boomiest way to play that note is to just pluck that open E string.
It's what 99% of players would do, just sitting right there.
Exactly. But Paul didn't do that. He played the riff on the A string, the next one up, but way up on the 7th fret.
So, why make it harder?
Physics. When you play a note higher up the neck, the vibrating part of the string is shorter, it has less flop, less sustain, it sounds tighter, it's more of a thud than a boom.
So that's where that punchy, compressed sound comes from.
That's it. It just cuts through the mix in a different way. It stops being just a bass note, and it starts being a percussion instrument. It's a technique they'd get even better at on Paperback Writer a few months later.
So by doubling George's guitar with that specific bass technique,
They locked in perfectly. It became a new sound, a fusion of the two.
which is why it feels like a punch in the gut. Now, we can't talk origins without talking about the elephant in the room,
The Bobby Parker connection.
the watch your step in the room. Some people call it theft, but Lennon was pretty open about it, right?
He was. He never tried to hide it. He said flat out that the riff owed a huge debt to Bobby Parker's 1961 song, Watch Your Step.
Who was Bobby Parker? Not exactly a household name.
And that's the point. Watch Your Step was this obscure blues soul track. It wasn't a hit, but it was massive with British musicians who were, digging for that authentic American sound.
The Beatles, the Yardbirds.
All of them. If you knew Bobby Parker, you were cool. And if you listen to that track, you can hear the DNA of Day Tripper. It's unmistakable.
John had used him as inspiration before for I Feel Fine Too.
He had. But I think it's important to separate plagiarism from what the Beatles were doing. This wasn't just copying.
Synthesis.
Yes, surgical brilliance. They absorbed it and reassembled it. The musicologist Walter Everett has a theory. It's actually a mashup.
A mashup of what?
He thinks you can hear bits of The Temptations, My Girl, Barrett Strong's Money, some Marvin Gaye,
Wow.
plus a little Roy Orbison rockabilly undertow. It's a melting pot.
Yeah.
But honestly, there's another motivation I find even more compelling.
You're talking about the rivalry.
I'm talking about the Rolling Stones.
I love this. Because in the summer of '65, the Stones just dropped an atom bomb on the charts.
The summer of '65 was the summer of satisfaction. You could not escape it.
And that riff is just 3 notes.
3 notes and a fuzz pedal. But it showed everybody, including John Lennon, the power of a simple, repeated figure. And the theory is that Lennon, being as competitive as he was, heard satisfaction and basically thought,
I could do better.
nice try, watch this. He wanted to out-riff the Stones. And, well, mission accomplished.
It really does put Day Tripper in this very exclusive club, the Brotherhood of the Great Riff.
It's a small club, and to see how great it is, you have to compare it to the other Titans.
Like Keith Richards, as we said, came to him in a dream.
Can you imagine? Woke up, recorded it half asleep on a cassette, and then 40 minutes of him snoring.
Unbelievable. Then you've got Jimmy Page with Whole Lotta Love.
Another giant. He built that on a houseboat, taking old blues licks and just launching them into space.
Or Tony Iommi with Iron Man. That's a whole different kind of darkness.
And that came from an industrial accident. He lost the tips of his fingers, had to tune his guitar way down just so he could bend the strings.
So he basically invents heavy metal by accident.
Limitation creates genius. And of course, Ritchie Blackmore, Smoke on the Water.
Forbidden Riff.
The Forbidden Riff. 4 notes conceived while he was watching a casino burn to the ground.
And it's not just a 60s thing. Jack White with Seven Nation Army.
The modern equivalent, yeah. You hear it at every sports stadium on Earth. And the common thread with all of them, including Day Tripper, is inevitability.
The riff is the song.
You can't imagine it any other way. It feels like it was always there, just waiting to be found.
So let's talk about the actual recording. They didn't spend weeks on this.
Not at all. It was fast. October 16th, 1965, they nailed it in 3 takes.
3. That's terrifyingly good.
It's pure economy. But there is that one little quirk in there for the real headphone nerds.
A dropout.
A mysterious guitar dropout. Near the end, the sound just vanishes for a split second, a technical glitch.
And George Martin, Mr. Perfectionist, just left it in.
He left it in. I love that. It reminds you there are human beings in a room playing together. It has character.
Now we have to talk about the lyrics, because the music is so cool and driving. But the words they're kind of mean.
Oh, they're biting. This is cynical Lennon at his best.
So what exactly is a day tripper?
It's his term for a weekend hippie.
Someone who's just dabbling.
Exactly. Someone who wants the cool counterculture experience, but only on the weekends. They want the vibe, but not the commitment. She's a big teaser.
So it's an accusation.
It's totally an accusation, not an invitation.
Yeah.
And I think that tension is what makes the song so powerful. You have this grinding, relentless riff paired with this contemptuous lyric.
It gives it an edge. It still sounds dangerous.
It does. A lot of songs from 65 sound nostalgic and sweet now. Day Tripper does not sound sweet.
And every kid who got a guitar in 1966 had to learn it.
It was a mandatory rite of passage. You just had to have it in your arsenal.
And you couldn't fake it either. Not like a Stones riff.
No. As Lenny Kaye from the Patti Smith Group said, the Stones wrote riffs about attitude. You could be a bit loose. The Beatles wrote riffs that punished imprecision.
Because of that tight unison playing.
Exactly. If your timing is even slightly off on Day Tripper, the whole thing just falls apart.
It's a high wire act.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate test of timing and tone. Amazing to think about it. 4 guys under the gun for a Christmas single, just changing music forever with a 2-bar loop.
Well, thanks for joining us today. Whenever you feel like knowing more about the Beatles, visit us at BeatlesRewind.com. It's the Beatles. All day, every day, 8 days a week. Cass will do it again tomorrow.
Right. You bet. I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Until next time,
Yeah.
when you listen.
Your mind conducts its own symphony.